Her message arrived at 3:12 p.m. A single line. Family meeting, 8 p.m., urgent. No apology for the ceremony they didn't attend. No explanation for calling it basic, as if the years I spent working nights, studying until my vision blurred, meant nothing. Just urgency, now that the world suddenly knew my name. I stared at the screen, the same calm I used during trauma shifts settling over me. Detached, focused, a familiar numbness spreading in quiet waves. The TV in the corner kept replaying the segment. Aerial footage of the estate, my father's will officially unsealed, the law firm confirming my inheritance, every acre, every investment property, every stock portfolio now under my name. $5.5 million. And apparently, now I was interesting. I muted the TV. My apartment returned to silence, the kind that presses against the bones. I watched the unread messages from her family stack beneath hers. We need to talk. Please don't be late. Bring documents. We're family after all. Family. The word felt foreign. I stood up slowly, tying the last button of my scrub top as my reflection stared back from the dark window. Same eyes, different man. Tonight, they expected a desperate explanation, but I had something else. Something they didn't know I'd been gathering piece by piece. I slid the folder out from under my medical textbooks. Thick, heavy, final. At 8 p.m., I wouldn't be showing up empty-handed. The betrayal didn't start with the ceremony. It began months earlier. Quiet, careless moments she didn't realize I noticed. A second phone she kept in her purse, the late-night family errands, the silences that grew longer, colder, more calculated. At first, I told myself she was just stressed. People change under weight, and financial strain had been chewing through our marriage. I blamed myself for not earning enough yet, not rising fast enough, not being the partner she believed she deserved. But the truth slid in like a needle, small, sharp, unavoidable. It was the night I overheard her whispering in the kitchen, lights off, voice low and trembling in a way she never used for me. He doesn't know. Yes, after the ceremony. No, he'll never question it. When she returned to the bedroom, I pretended to sleep. Her breathing stayed steady, while mine tightened, each inhale deliberate and silent. The next morning, she called my pinning ceremony a kindergarten event and left with her parents for something more important. Important. I went alone, received my pin from my mentor, smiled for photos that no one in my family bothered to take. And when I returned home, her parents were laughing in the dining room. Her mother said, "Nursing is good for now. Someday you'll aim higher, maybe when you actually become successful." They dismissed me like I was made of air, so I became air, silent, invisible, watching. Her second phone, her messages, her location history, her late-night drives to the same law office, one owned by her ex, the same man she still tagged in archived photos, the same man she swore she never spoke to. Every detail tightened the knot around my ribs. I didn't confront her then. I let the truth grow roots. My shifts became my sanctuary, 12 hours of quiet observation disguised as routine healthcare. I learned patience the way nurses do, minute by minute, breath by breath. At home, I kept the same calm. I made dinner. I asked nothing. I mirrored her disinterest with a silence she mistook for ignorance. Meanwhile, my investigation unfolded with clinical precision. I pulled her phone records, cross-checked her location logs, captured screenshots of messages transferred from her second phone. I contacted an acquaintance at a real estate law firm, someone discreet, someone I trusted long before I trusted my wife's smile. He helped me analyze the financial patterns, payments, transfers, and plans she and her family were making behind my back, all tied to my future income, or so they thought. When my father died unexpectedly and news of the inheritance trickled toward the lawyers, her behavior shifted from cold to almost polite, still distant, still rehearsed, but suddenly invested in asking about my schedule and reminding me that family sticks together. I pretended not to notice she'd started attending dinners with her parents every Thursday, alone. I pretended not to notice the folder they kept passing across the table, tucked beneath coats and handbags, contracts, proposals, money she didn't have yet. Every night, I recorded my thoughts in a notebook, tracking timelines, aligning inconsistencies. Not rage, just logic, line by line. She believed I was slow, that I was simple, that a nurse wouldn't understand legal documents or estate law. She forgot where I interned before nursing school, a corporate law office, her ex's competitor. By the time the TV aired the inheritance segment, I already had everything I needed. Every lie, every detail, every piece. Tonight wouldn't be a confrontation, it would be a diagnosis. Her parents sat at the dining table when I arrived. She stood behind them, hands clasped like a guilty child rehearsing contrition. Her father cleared his throat. "We need to discuss how we, as a family, will manage your inheritance." I placed my folder on the table. He smiled, too quickly. "Good, you brought the documents." "I did," I said. My voice was calm, surgical. I opened the folder, but instead of inheritance forms, I slid out printed screenshots, bank statements, the messages from her second phone. My wife went pale. Her mother inhaled sharply. Her father's voice cracked. What is this?" I leaned forward. Evidence. Silence spread across the table like frost. My wife whispered, You went through my things?" "I observed," I corrected. "Those are private," her mother hissed. "So was my ceremony," I replied. I watched my wife's face crumble as she scanned her own messages, the ones she thought she deleted, the ones where she discussed using my inheritance to clear her ex's debts, the ones where her parents called me temporary. Her eyes filled with the panic of someone who finally sees the ending coming. "Please, listen," she whispered. But I didn't come here for explanations, only confirmation. I slid one last document across the table, a legal contract, signed, stamped, final. Her father grabbed it, then froze. It wasn't a will distribution. It was a separation agreement drafted by the top real estate law firm in the state. My father's lawyer, the one whose office my wife kept visiting. Except she wasn't meeting him. She was meeting his assistant, trying to get information she never received. I already warned them. My wife stared at me, trembling. "You already knew?" "For months." Her mother snapped, "How dare you blindside us like—" "You blamed me for not being successful enough," I said quietly. "Now you think you're entitled to what I built, what I inherited, what I earned alone." No shouting, no heat, just truth. Her father clenched the papers in his fist, but his voice had lost its authority. "You can't walk away with everything." I just did. I stood. My wife tried to reach for my arm. "Please, don't leave. We can fix." I stepped back, her hand closing on empty air. "You skipped the moment I became who I am," I said. "Don't expect to be part of who I become next." I walked out without looking back. The night air felt sharp, clean, like a wound cauterized. My phone buzzed with messages. Hers, her parents' numbers I didn't recognize, pleas, accusations, bargaining attempts. I let them stack. I didn't need to block them. Their voices no longer reached me. At the end of the driveway, I paused beneath a streetlight, the separation papers still warm against my palm. For the first time in months, my chest felt quiet. Not healed, just free. People think betrayal breaks you. It doesn't. It reveals you. And tonight, they finally saw me clearly. Not the man they underestimated, dismissed, manipulated, but the man who walked away. My final thoughts settled with cold certainty. They skipped my ceremony. I skipped their future. And that felt like justice.